Hi, Ms. Parul.
Hi, Peter.
Okay, so all set. We fine to begin admitting the participants in the webinar.
Yes, please. Are you able to see me? Because I can't see myself. So
Yes,
I you're able to see me. Okay.
I can see you. So we are all good.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So we have all the participants who has entered the webinar. So very warm welcome to all our participants. Well then, let's begin with our webinar. It's a pleasant Thursday afternoon, and we are all set to begin with our today's session. The COVID-19 pandemic has triggered the latest battle in the war of talent. Firms are increasing base pay for entry-level analysts to six figures. Even firms are promising retention bonuses to attract new talents. While these approaches may be effective for filling the vacant positions, they are unlikely to yield long-term employee engagement and high performance. Worse, these approaches might actually engender the dysfunctional retention of reluctant talent, an employee who prefers to leave but ends up staying and performing poorly. Rather than relying heavily on one-time incentives that are at best a knee-jerk reaction to keep bodies in seat, organizations need to take a hard look at how to identify and create engaged, enthusiastic employees. They should allow reluctant stayers to leave and focus on creating workplaces where enthusiastic stayers want to stay and thrive. In recently published academic research, we identify and quantify the impact of retaining both enthusiastic stayers and reluctant stayers and challenge the assumption that all employees staying is uniformly good. Let's hear it out from our expert today, who will be sharing with us her best practices to retain high-performing talent. HR Association of India welcomes you all to the 2022 Dialogue Masterclass series on the topic Retaining Talent in this Dynamic Era. To know more about HRAI and its event, I would request all our participants to visit the link and details posted in the chat window. Request all the participants to kindly follow the webinar guidelines mentioned in the chat window. It would be great to have all the participants' feedback. We'll be running a poll before the Q&A session. Request all the participants to kindly give your feedback on the session. I now take the privilege to introduce our master for today, Ms. Parul Mathur Saxena, SVP, HR and Training, TradeIndia.com. In a journey spanning over 1.5 decades, Parul Mathur Saxena has been at the forefront of the evolution of people management processes from being policy-centric to people-centric, having worked with some of India's best-known organizations such as Adobe India, RMSI, Toshiba, Snapdeal, and IndiaMart. She has been at the helm of driving significant workplace culture changes. Currently, she is working as a senior vice president in TradeIndia.com, India's largest online B2B marketplace, and heads the human resource and training function at Trade India. Her rich experience stems from her ability to adapt perfectly to the changing dynamics and employee needs at established organizations as well as emerging startups. The strong belief she carries in going the extra mile to comfort people around her reflects in her leadership style. Her mantra to be a successful leader is to stay agile, resilient, and most importantly, develop the ability to think on feet. You can follow her on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. I would like to also congratulate her on receiving the award from HR Association of India as the best CHRO of the year. So congratulations, ma'am. I now hand over the platform to you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Peter, for this warm welcome. And of course, I think I'm overwhelmed and speechless when I received the award last evening for CHR of the year. It was, I think it's more of a surprise and a very good start for the year. So thank you so much for it. So I think Peter has already introduced, with a lot of fancy words and, good words about me. But, to be very precise, I am a people's person. I have been working in this domain from almost like 16 and a half years. So I have experience in throughout HR and training and, PMS, and, it's all about people. So this is about me. I am born and brought up in Delhi. I am a mother of a teenager, who is 14 years old. So learning to behave and being a more of a companion to him than a strict mother. I am also, honored to share that, I've been featured twice in Forbes list of top great people manager of India in 2020 and 2021. So very honored and humbled about it. So I thought, let's share that as well. So on that note, as Peter has already, set the context of this entire session, that what are we talking about. So we are completely talking about and concentrating the entire session on how to retain talent in our organizations when the time is so dynamic and so agile. So on that note, Peter, I'm sharing my screen and you can just give me a heads up if you can see that. Are you able to see it?
Yes, we are able to see. All good to go.
Yeah, so it's all about retaining talent in this dynamic era. So let's not refer this era only restricted to pandemic or this work from home and all. I think retaining talent in organization was always a challenge, because it is not only depending on the current environment economic system, but overall as well, because I think retaining talent is all about how you are juggling with the mindset of people and the kind of reasons that they come up with. So at times, yes, it is directly proportionate to the economy and the ups and downs which is happening in the industry. But at times it is also, depending on the kind of ambition that people have. So I always say that there is a leap time of every position, every individual, every experience in terms of the learning curve. So once a person reach to that leap time and take that leap for the next level of success, it has become a responsibility of an organization to give them the another leap, or rather to show them another mountain of success. Otherwise, you keep on losing talent, and it is not about losing out good people who have come from with good pedigree, with good organization background, so and so forth, but they also become an intellectual property for the organization. So the more time they spend in the organization, the more intellectual property asset they will become to the organization. So losing an asset is always a challenge to the organization. So on that note, I am taking it further, the discussion. So let's accept the fact that resignations are happening. Instead of why and how and when, let's start from the top. Resignation has happened, it is happening, we are not able to stop it. So, and it is inevitable, so it will happen. So that's the way which I said already, that once the leap time, the success leap has already been taken, then it will happen eventually, or you have to keep on making your people grow. So it is not possible for all the organization to take care of each and every employee on the success journey and the ambitions that they have. So let's accept that the resignation will happen, and it is already happening. So now, just a second. Yeah. So on that note, let's discuss further on this. Yeah. So we can't stop someone who has already resigned. After resignation, it is very difficult to stop somebody because that person has already made up its mind. But can we try stopping that person before the resignation? Are there any chances, or are there any indicators what we get from that individual or from that team member, that we may find out that he may leave, he must be thinking on the lines of separation. So it's all about addressing the elephant in the room. So let's address it, that okay, this person is looking for something else which we are not able to provide. But instead of just closing your eyes and and thinking that okay, let him resign first and then we'll talk about it, let's address those issues. So how I think that we should address these issues in the early stage, so that we can understand the pulse of the team as well as the person. So let's discuss on the indicators of resignation. So there are 2-3 ways that we can find that out. So in a very simple language, because we I don't want to put so much of time in giving you a lot of methodologies and a lot of matrices around it. Let's keep it very simple. Let's talk about people, because it's the people who are leaving you. So what are the personality traits and what are the indicators you get once you understand that they may leave? So the indicators, maybe you can identify the employees, the kind of configuration you have in your team. So let's I have bifurcated the employees into 4 different sections. One, so these are the the categories, how I put my team members into this category. One is the passive team members. They are ready to accept, to get to give you control of their emotions and the work, everything. So they will do whatever is told to them. So they will try to adhere to the timelines. They will take leaves. They are not a great planners, but the biggest motivation for them to leave any organization is the money. The more you fulfill their desire to earn money, or to give them monetary satisfied, they will stick to you more. However, in terms of the contribution standpoint, they may not be that active in the team. So they are more of a doers in the team. You give them something, they will do that, but they will not do it 100%, but they will definitely not do it 70%. So they are just there in the team. Another is the cooperative employees, who are more engaged. They are more cooperative. They need constant motivation, that yes, you're doing good and you're right, and but they lack of a lot of initiatives. So what they do is that you give them something, they are good in collaboration. They collaborate with people. They will do their job right, but are they doing that 1% extra which will take them to the next level? They may not be the people. They are good in subject matter expert, but they may not be those kind of people who can take decision and go to a next leap. Then third category could be the contributors, who are who create persistent plans. They take actions, they do follow up, they collaborate with the different teams, different managers, but they still take they have that lack of decision making, that they always need somebody's hand behind them, that okay, you take a decision, I am there. So they are not somebody who like to take fault in their decision making. So they generally need somebody who can help them in taking a decision on their behalf. But they are good contributors. They can be promoted, but they are the people that who are into that category, where you need to push them and give them constant appreciation, not motivation, constant appreciation, constant recognition of their work, so that you can eventually mold them into the fourth category, which is an entrepreneurial mindset category. These people are very proactive. You don't have put a lot of effort with these guys. They are innovators. They take initiatives. They are solution oriented mindset. They are good in taking decisions in the absence. They are aligned with the management, with the leadership. So they are the ones who need a lot of limelight at the end of the day, and you have to give them a lot of responsibility to keep them engaged in the system. Else they will eventually feel that their job is done, and after 3 years, after 2.5 years, they feel that maybe their job is done and now they want to move on. So once we start categorizing our people into these 3-4 sections, or maybe you can add up more as per your team configuration, you will understand that who are the what kind of resignation or motivation you require, so that they will not end up going to a resignation field. And even if they get into a resignation mode, what are the things you can actually mold and speak about to them if you want to retain them in your team. So now let's discuss the mindset which comes when we talk about resignation, how we can help in controlling, or rather in molding the mindset of people so that they will not get into a resignation mode. So what is from, and where we are heading to. So this is how I categorize that in a very simple language. So there are few team members who always feel that we are getting victimized. So we are getting victim of the situation, and I was not able to do my work because that person has delivered it late. This presentation is incorrect because I have received the wrong data, or maybe the cells are not right, maybe the whatever reason, they come up with a very victimized mindset. So it's not my fault, I am just a victim of the situation. So we have to change this mindset to the enterprising mindset, that let's fix it. Even if I have received something incorrect in terms of the presentation or data or whatever, let's fix it. So that once you start changing the mindset of such people, they will become more agile in their thinking, and they will become more proactive in their mindset. So the thought of resignation, what is that thought? The thought is that when I am not being motivated, or maybe I'm not being appreciated in the team, or maybe people are looking faults in my work, so don't let them get into that kind of mindset. And even if they have, that how you change it to. Second category could be the option conditioned mindset, where I will either do this or I will do that. So for an example, I will either make a PPT or I will sit in the review. So you make a choice. So these are the people who will give you condition. So these are the people who are definitely a cooperative sort of employees in the category bucketing, which we have done in the previous slide. Yes, they will cooperate with you, but they will not cooperate to 100% level that they will start taking initiative. Okay, let's do everything together. So you have to convert their mindset into a resourceful mindset, that let's try all the options to take the best decision or best result out of it. So this is the kind of mindset that you have to change. Once you start change the cooperative category of people in your team into this resourceful mindset, they will feel more involved in the organization. And once they start feeling involved, the chances of resignation will really become less. Their separation thought process will become less. The last category is the optimistic and a pessimistic in a very simple language mindset, where people are more of a opportunist mindset. Just can you give me a second? Yeah. So they are more like they use the resources to a level that use it now and we'll see what we will have to do it later. So for an example, I hire a designer in my team, and I can see there is only a work for 6 months for their designer. So I use it as an opportunist. I use the entire skill set of a designer, and then I'll see, let's use it now and we'll see it later. We'll give him a contractual position and then we'll see it later. Instead of, we can move them to a benefactor sort of mindset, that we already have a 6 months project for this person. What can we do, or how we can mold him to prepare him for the next project? So once we will start giving this mindset change to people, they will definitely be more aligned, feel more empowered, and feel more motivated and connected in the organization. They feel that they have a say and they have that decision-making power in them. Once you start involve your people in your discussion, in your decisions, they will become more associated with your organization, and the chances of resignation will become quite less. I'm not saying that all these things will just remove all these, the expectation of a resignation, but definitely we can control it and we can have early life signals for it. So what exactly, how to keep your employees motivated, so that this thought of of getting separated will not be there in their minds. So one is that you give them surprise praises, so you can give them spot awards, you can give them surprise praises, you can take them into different reviews in different meetings, you can tell them to prepare presentations, you can help them in creating some data, some analysis. Second could be, you can give them a lot of spotlight, you can take them into different meetings and forums where they are they are sitting on the host chair, they will be presenting the entire thought process, they are the ones who are giving the ideas, whether the ideas are yours, but you still give them that kind of stage that okay, this is the idea which you can highlight, and then you can maybe brush it up a little and then give them the entire spotlight there. You should and you must give a lot of respect to their opinions. So whether you like somebody's opinion or not, but it is very important that you give them the due respect for it. So even if at times we as a leader, or maybe our leaders, they already know that what a person is saying may not be right or may not be that helpful for us, but still they give us chance to speak about it, so that we get that kind of confidence, and we get that kind of satisfaction that our opinions are also being heard. Moreover, we feel a lot of connection while we sit in different reviews and meetings and in different brainstorming sessions, that maybe our opinion really matters to the organization. So that respect and opinion is very much required for all of us. Then you should challenge their abilities, whatever a person is doing from last 2 years, 3 years. You should give them a lot of challenge, that okay, what can you do better, or what can you do next? If you will not give them challenges, they will feel that okay, my job has become more or less the same monotony, and maybe this is the time that I should move on and look what else is there in the market. So these are the thought process which are very generic in nature, which I think we generally are doing, but there still must be few things which we are not able to maybe see, or rather highlight so far, that people are not feeling motivated about it. And as a golden rule, what I always believe is that appreciation is yours and criticism is mine. So as a leader, this is the peace of mind we should always give it to them, that whatever appreciation is there, you will get it, because you are the person who is doing it. But all the criticism, all the backfires in reviews and meetings, it's all mine, because I am the one who has not maybe brushed up your thoughts to that level that it has been delivered, or maybe the priority is not been set by me correctly, so that the delivery hasn't happened. So this is the kind of mindset that we should look at. I'm sure that we all if we do maybe a quick 2 minute or maybe a 1 minute exercise where we all are handling teams, we can categorize these people into these 3-4 categories, where we can judge the people who are in the in the passive mode, who are the cooperative mode people, who are the contributors, and who are the entrepreneurial mindset people. So once we start doing that, it is very easy for us to bifurcate and see the early life alarming signals that maybe this is the time that the person can move out if I will not do this for him. However, I still believe that once a person resigns, it is very difficult for us to retain that person, because he's already in that mindset. However, having said that, there are still few cases where people get retained, and there are different type of resignations, which I will talk about in the second part of the presentation, where you will see that people are not just giving resignation because they want to leave the organization. There are different thought process behind it. So we will talk about more on that. So let's go to the next slide. So even if we will do all the homework and all the categorization and the motivation, the team building, the cultural building, everything, people still leave. And it is not only the junior, but the senior leadership people leave. So I think that's a part of That's a part of life now. So once a person joins the organization, he will leave the organization. And organization, people, managers, team members, they should not feel so offended about it. Let's face the fact that people are here to grow on a mutual success standpoint. The moment people feel that maybe their contribution is not enough to the for the organization, maybe their efforts are not getting recognized to the level where they want, and maybe they are not learning new, they will leave. So I am not saying that I am not a believer of this statement. However, I still say that yes, I agree. It's a well-known statement that people don't leave organizations, they leave managers. But I also believe that it is not true completely. People at times do not even leave their managers. That's how they become mentors at the later stage of their lives. It is not only about leaving the managers or leaving the leaders behind. It's also about going into the next leap of success, maybe which they are not getting in their current organization, but they're looking for the for the same in the different organization. So always blaming people, culture, organization, managers is not right, because resignations and separations may have different angles altogether. So on that thought, I have bifurcated this resignation into two parts to keep it very simple for all of us, so that we can actually apply it somewhere if we need to. So the two kind of resignation, what I thought we have, just a second, yeah. One is the sudden resignation. Second is the negotiated resignation. Sudden resignation is nothing. It is all about when you are not expecting a person to leave, but he suddenly resigns, and now you have to speak to him and get into that mode that let's discuss and see if we can retain you. And some resignations are very well known. Even as a leader, you also know that these resignations are just the negotiation standpoint resignation. This person is not looking for a change. He is just trying to negotiate the better deal with us, maybe in terms of his ambitions or money or role, or maybe some different criteria. So let's discuss further on this. What are the sudden resignations, and what type of people generally give you a sudden resignation? So as per my thought process, people fall under this category of passive and cooperative people in the team. In the configuration of the team, they generally give you sudden resignations. And these are few points why. So once they will give you a sudden resignation, that means they have already made up their mind that they have no mood in doing any negotiations with you. They are already in a thought process that we have made up our mind, we don't want to take it further, and now it's time to leave. So these passive and cooperative people, what are the general reasons for them to give resignations, and what are the reasons they give it to you at the end of the day? So there are two sides of the story. The reason of their looking out for a job, which is before the resignation stage, is something for a passive person where he is available for a physically, he's just physically there, but mentally he's not there. Maybe this is not the kind of job he wants to do. Maybe he's looking for something else. Maybe he's preparing for something else. Maybe he's currently doing the software job, but he's preparing for a government services. So maybe those kind of people. Maybe his the salary what he is getting is not something what he is looking for, and he has suddenly got an exponential increase in the salary, and this person put up a resignation. And these resignations are not something which you can retain or which you can hold. So let's accept that you cannot hold everybody in the system. So these are the passive members in your team whom you should, and if you once you start categorizing your people, you should always see that how many passive team members are there in your team, who are the cooperatives, contributors, and entrepreneurs. You should have a good combination of the four categories in your team. If you have all the entrepreneurial mindset people, then they all will become leader and nobody will listen to each other. So the collaboration will be missing. If you have all passive members in your team, then nobody will take a lead and nobody will take an initiative, and everybody will just do a doer work. So you definitely don't want that. So you need to see that, what is the kind of configuration you have in the team. Definitely you have more of passive people in your team, because they are first of all in the doer category. Plus the resignation coming from them will become a sudden death sort of resignation, where you can't hold them back. So you need to have more people in this category, so that if anybody leaves, you cannot just have a empty bucket there. So these are the passive seekers who generally give you sudden resignation. And then definitely the cooperative mindset people, where they see that they are doing better job than others, they are above average employees. You need to give them a lot of motivation, because they constantly need your appreciation, your the RNRs, and this pat on the back. So the moment the curve is little down, or maybe in one quarter they are not able to perform, they start looking out for a job, because they are little insecure that if I will not deliver, if I will not perform to this level, then maybe I am the one who will be called out from the team. So these kind of people, it is very difficult to retain them, because they have already made up their mind once they look out for a job. So it is not at the time of resignation, it is actually beforehand. And even if you try to retain them, eventually they will get retained by more money or a bigger role, but they will still leave, because this kind of insecurity has seed has got seeded in their mind. So that is the kind of judgment call you have to take. So what generally they say once they sit in the at the time of resignation, they will talk about what is not there in the organization, how the organization is not taking care of this employee, what are the shortcomings of the team, what are the shortcomings of the project and the people around and the owners and the manager. So they will talk about all those shortcomings. Retaining such people will become a challenge after maybe a quarter or so, because they have already highlighted so many of shortcomings which they have prepared in their mind, and now it is very difficult for them to overcome those shortcomings. So if I make up my mind that my manager is a short tempered guy, and that is the reason I'm leaving, and now my HOD will hold me back in the company, it is very difficult for me to have the similar harmony in my relationship with my manager, because I have already thought that he's a guy who has an anger problem. So very difficult to change their mindset. Once they prepare their mindset, they become very argumenting. No, you have not done this, and you could have given me that project, and I was working till 12 in the night, and I was working on the weekends. So they will come up with all those answers. They will become they show a lot of comparisons with their peers and fellow colleagues. Check in their team, that team leader is doing that, or maybe my fellow colleague is getting that much. My team member has got this much of appraisal, but I have got less appraisal. So they will come up with a lot of comparisons, which is not right, because and not right to answer also. You should not answer so many things to a person, and they become very receptive to a feedback. Whatever feedback you give it to them for their future growth, or you want to retain them, they will not accept it much. And these kind of people, there is a very less possibility that you can retain them. So as my suggestion, first of all, let's not take them to that level that they start resigning from the team. And even if they have started resigning, instead of retaining that particular person, you can add up more people, but retaining that particular person may not be very helpful, because of a lot of challenges which they have highlighted during the discussion. And before highlighting, they have already made up their mind that this is all what I will say. So these kind of people are not very, they will not become very healthy for the team if you retain them. Now we talk about the another category, which is a negotiated resignations. These resignations are these are the type of resignation where people are open to talk, they are open to discuss. And if you go back and see, these are the people who have been coming to you numerous times in in entire 1 year or maybe 1.5 years, with a lot of their aspirations and career goals. And eventually, maybe because of some challenges in the team or in the organization environment, economy, when we are not able to fulfill that, then they take up this step of resigning. So these are the people who are generally the contributors and the entrepreneurial mindset in the team. So they because they think that they have given a lot of contribution, decision making, initiations, then taking a lot of innovation steps, adding teams, learning the team, giving the training to the team, learning from the team member, learning from the leader, getting themselves aligned with the organization thought and the leader's thought. And they are keep on coming and talking their aspiration to their managers, that this is what I'm expecting, this is what I'm expecting in my next appraisal, this is what I'm expecting about my role. These are the guys who talk about their role, their growth, their additional responsibility, and the bandwidth. So these are the ones who will give you a lot of ideas. They are not the ones who will talk about their bandwidth. Okay, I have a bandwidth issue, I can't do that. They are not the ones. They will come up with a solution that because we have a bandwidth issue, let's do this as an automation so that we can ease out some more time and we can work on different projects. So these are the people whom we should really retain, and these are the people who becomes the intellectual property for the organization. So if you see the people who are really tenured in the organization, they either fall into the first category, which are passive employees who are more of a doers in the organization, or the third and fourth category who are the contributors and entrepreneurial mindset, because they have been getting a lot of opportunities for their ideas and for their new projects, that they become very emotionally attached with the organization. So these are the ones who stay really long in the organization. So that's why we say the better policies in terms of the career growth you have for people, the more tenured employee you have in your organization. So still, whenever they will leave and they want to have a conversation with you from the negotiation standpoint, what are the things they generally say? They highlight what he's getting better outside, what is the kind of role he's getting, what is the kind of organization he's getting into, what is the kind of technologies he will be working for, which are the indicators that if we will fulfill maybe his mentality for giving him a new opportunity to learn a new technology or a new role, is something that can be considerable for him to negotiate or rather to retain in the company. What is the kind of role he's getting in market? So what that means, he's trying to give you an idea that I am capable of doing such role. So if you can give me that kind of role, maybe this is the point I can get retained in the company. They will talk about their career ambition and then their career aspiration. This is what I want to become. I have spent these many years in the company. I wanted to become this, but I am still here. So the company is not able to match my career ambition. Or maybe the company has not told me what should I do extra to reach to that level. So, they are dropping you hints in all the conversation that this is what they want and this is where they can be retained in the company. And what are the contribution definitely they have made to the organization and to the team? Definitely they will talk about that. These are the people who have a very high possibility to get retained in the company. And good part is they will not only get retained for the money, but they will definitely get retained from for the role perspective, for the their skill enhancement perspective. So they are the ones who actually be more suited to have a negotiation in terms of resignation. Again, I'm saying you cannot retain everybody, but you should retain at least the contributors and the entrepreneurial mindset people, because it is, first of all, it is difficult to get a replacement of such people, because it is not only the person and the pedigree, but it is also that the kind of time and money you have invested in that person to make him to that level. So it is again you have to go back to line zero to start making the other person into the same mindset. So it's a two-way street. And if you have put so much of effort and time as a leader on somebody, let's try to retain that person, not only in the monetary standpoint, but overall the work and the contribution standpoint. So this is exactly what I wanted to talk about. I know that the session is quite small this time. I have not prepared a very lengthy PPT, because because this is a point where we can have a lot of discussion and lot of a lot of thought process exchange. So I thought, let's keep it 15 minutes for the Q&A if Peter allows. So Peter, over to you.
Absolutely, no worries. Thank you so much, Ms. Parul. Before we move to the Q&A session, we will be initiating a poll. Request all our participants to kindly share your feedback on today's session. While you're doing so, request all our participants to kindly post your questions in the chat window. Once again, I thank all our participants for joining our session today. We have received a lot of inquiry about the e-certificate offered by HRAI. You can claim your e-certificate by sharing your details. When I say details, that is your name and the session attended in an email to the email ID mentioned in the chat window. We will email the e-certificates to you based on details received. Kindly do share these details latest by end of this month so that we'll be able to share it with you all quickly. So we have received a couple of questions. So can we go ahead taking those questions, Ms. Parul?
Yes, please.
Okay. So there is one question that is, this pandemic has created a different culture in the way of working, where employee has got used to working from home. How can organization maintain this culture in the future?
Okay, so the question is that work from home should be maintained for future, right? Is it
the culture? The culture, when we are talking about, I believe the one who has asked the question is specifically related to this, to the culture in the context of retaining the talent while working from home.
So it is, if I'm understanding it right, see, first of all, we should not link this work from home culture with the resignation. So that's what I, said it in the beginning, that there are two different aspects to it. There are few jobs which are completely work from home. So are we saying that those jobs do not see any resignation or any kind of separation? No, it's not that. Yes, one thing is definitely there, that while we all are working from home, it is difficult to get the sentiment analysis of people which are there on ground once we talk to them physically in the office. And it is very different once you speak to them on virtual meetings and on calls and on chat and everything. But you still have to ensure that if you give them the right project and the right type of work, they will still be engaged with you. So if you give them the, see, you also have to just imagine that if you are being told to do a data entry job sitting at home, you will definitely not feel motivated about it. However, if you sit in the office and do the same data entry job, you feel involved. Why? Because there are people coming and talking to you. People will ask you, you go ahead with, have lunch and, have breaks with them. But if you do the same kind of job sitting at home, you may not feel important and involved. So what you should do extra? You should give them something which is more where they can show their talent more, or which they can show their involvement more. You give them little work on the analysis. So for an example, if you're doing this data 100 entries in 8 hours, can we do something where you can do this entry in 4 hours? Can you do some automation or maybe some kind of project where you can still do your work, but you can add up more value to it? So those kind of constructive discussions will definitely involve the employee into the decision making process. And I defer to believe that this work from home, I have been hearing a lot of leaders and a lot of people that you keep on talking to them, to your team in video calls, and take a lot of their meetings so that they feel involved. I don't think so, because a person who is sitting at home, he is doing, I think, 1,000 more work than when he sits in the office. So maybe he is not able to come every time on virtual meetings. So if you give them the breather, especially those lunch hours. If you give them the breather that, okay, this is a time maybe when you're cooking or when you're eating, so this is the time you can have for yourself, they will feel more ownership in their work. So I again, if I am answering it right, this work from home culture is not actually giving this increase of resignation. The work from home culture is giving the ideas to the leaders how they can involve their people more while they are sitting at the comfort of their home and with their family. So if I am
more
answering
of
it right. Yeah,
more of giving them the flexibility
yeah,
of work, and having that kind of hybrid work culture can kind of aid you in reducing your like attrition aspects and ensuring that you retain those right talent, at the same time identifying how one, while they're working from home, how they can be engaged in a better way. Beautifully
absolutely
answered,
right.
like
Yeah.
Ms. Parul. Definitely, we have another question that is from Akshita. If an employee asks for salary and still change how to deal with such scenarios. So this is more often like, they ask for hike and then afterwards again they change.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
ask for, so if an employee asks for salary, means that person is asking for a hike, and skill change, how to deal with it. So um it's more of a contributor bucket, where they will constantly need your attention, they need your motivation. However, they ask for a good salary hike because they keep on comparing themselves with other peers and the colleagues in the in the organization, and they feel that their contribution is more in terms of the kind of salary and skill what they have. So these are the people whom you definitely focus on their skill enhancement, because whatever we say that we all work for money and whatever, but still if you give them this satisfaction on their skill enhancement and their proper training and involve them into a lot of decision making, they will still stick to you, Akshita, even if you do not give them the desired appraisal. So because, and this is, I am saying it from the experience what I have, giving maybe a less salary hike, but giving them a better position, better roles and responsibility, and their skill enhancement will definitely help you to handle that scenario better. So I know that salary is still something you have to eventually work on, but you can just try to do this. 1 year you can give them role and skill enhancement, and next year you can give them a better hike. So maybe that also suffices the purpose at the end of the day. Yeah.
So absolutely. Um, we have our next question that is from Rima. How can we cajole and how can we cajole any resigned employee who is working in startup 3-year-old organization and switching to multinational companies? How can we retain such employees?
Honestly, you cannot retain such employees because that's what I said. You cannot retain anybody and everybody, because see, you have to see the motivation of that person. He's going in a bigger brand name. He's definitely going for a higher salary. He is maybe getting the better skill set. But the only point you can discuss with that person is the better skill set. Because even if you give him a better hike, or maybe you're trying to match the offer, that person will still not stick to you for more than 2 quarters, maximum 2 quarters, because he will still look out for a better opportunity, because he knows how to crack a interview in an MNC. You can only retain that person by giving him better role and a better skill set, better position. If that person is working with you as a Java developer, you can give him something, Java with Angular JS, with other different technologies. Or maybe you can give them 2 people, 2 interns and 2 trainees under him, and make him feel that he is important and he's leading a team. You can only motivate him to that level. But in terms of the brand name and everything, these are the discussions which may not become very fruitful. So instead of pointing out or matching the CTC of that person, what he is getting offered from outside, you should motivate him in terms of the role and the skill set. because that will help him more. Because even if he will try to change, he will anyways take at least 1 year or 6 months time to understand that new role, and then he will look out for a change. But if you only match up the salary, that okay, we are giving you the same, we are matching with the offer, he will still not get retained. He will still go within a quarter or maybe 2 quarters. So this is how maybe you can use it. Yeah.
Absolutely. There is one question that is coming from Parvati. How to clear the misunderstanding created during appraisal time or work from home while giving what appraisal as it's the global pandemic? So what I understand is, while working from home, the misunderstanding that has occurred while giving the appraisals, and the understanding that the employee has gained during this entire process, and how to clarify that before he takes the decision to resign.
So this has happened with I think almost 80%, 90% of the organization in last 2 years, because when we had discussed about the next appraisal, it was we all were working from office. Then this pandemic happened, everybody started working from home, economy crashed down, and then everybody was getting a way lesser appraisal in terms of what they were expecting, what actually has been talked about with them. So in that kind of thought process, you should start with their mindset shift. When I know that my key member in my team is maybe getting a appraisal in next 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, I should try changing the mindset from me to we, from and to slide, which we have seen, make him into more of an entrepreneurial mindset. If I will get this money, then I will get retained. So from that mindset, he should become more of a resourceful mindset, that whatever appraisal I will get, I will take that, plus I will take additional responsibility. So that mindset of and has to be built and has to be tweaked in their mind. So it is not a one-day process, Parvati. It is a gradual process. And I don't say that you should only do it at the time of appraisal. You should be doing it every now and then with your people. You don't have to schedule a formal discussion, blocking a calendar and let's talk today about your career growth path. You can do it in a very casual conversation, that where you see them in next 1 year or 2 year, without putting a tag that I'm talking about your appraisal. Because the moment word appraisal comes, it comes with a lot of percentages and increments and benchmarkings and who is getting what. Just talk about their career growth. And see, this pandemic is just it's just a 1 or 2 year thing. Eventually it will go off. So you have to give them the same thought process, that whether you are not getting a good hike today, but I am able to give you a good position and a good responsibility, which will eventually getting incentivized in the in the next appraisals. So I think those kind of conversations only at the time of appraisal. You should do it every now and then, people especially who are working from home, so that they will feel aligned with you. So I think this is a right approach. Having said that, if the misunderstanding has already been created, you can only give them the facts and the figures. You can pick out a lot of reports which are there in from different organizations, where you can talk about how the market is growing, how the industry is going, and how your company is mapped and where your company get categorized at, and accordingly you will be able to handle such conversations. Over to you, Peter.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Parul. There's one question, a very interesting question. When you had shared the buckets, like categorizing of employees in those buckets, there's one here interesting bucket: how to retain a burnout or an overworked employee who wishes to resign.
This is the bucket which these kind of people are generally falls under the passive people, because passive and cooperative bucketing, where they feel that they are doing much extra and much more work than anybody else, because they don't feel that empowered in the organization. They have that kind of insecurity in their mind that if I will not work for 12 hours, maybe I am the one who will be asked to leave in this pandemic. So these are the people who generally feel that, I am burned out and I'm exhausted, and I am maybe, not able to do, I'm anyways doing much more than my bandwidth. So there are, it is one mindset, and one mindset is where you're actually banking on a person, and you as a leader also know that you are just using him everywhere, and maybe his entire effort is getting burned out. So there are two categories. The first category, where the person is a passive and a cooperative bucketing, where a person feels, he himself will start coming and talking about it. I am feeling burned out, and I am overworked, and all those things. You just have to give them a counseling and a motivation. The more motivation and counseling you give it to him, the more recognition you give to that person will stick to you. He will not change even for the money, because he will feel that his efforts are getting recognized. Regular rnrs, praises, putting them into different meetings will definitely help them to get engaged with your thought process. And you have to keep on telling them that what is the importance of time management and taking quick decisions, because a person generally feels burned out when he's depending on somebody else's decision to work on, or maybe he has a little time management problem. So I'm not saying that issue, the word issue, but maybe a concern, maybe a priority mapping for him. A regular priority mapping will definitely help him to prioritize his work. The second category is where a person is actually burned out, and you as a leader also know you have to give them a proactive, you should have a proactive approach and ask him that what he requires. If he need more resources, if he need more counseling, if he needs more training, or if he just need a 1 week off. I don't think a company will shut off if you give a 1 week off to anybody. So just tell him to have a time with his family, and take care of his health or whatever, or maybe daily, or maybe twice in a week, a courtesy call would also do with that person. So these kind of people are more engaged with the organization. They feel more stress if the organization is not able to move to that goal. So they feel responsible that maybe I have not done things right, that is why we are not able to achieve the target. So you just have to keep on giving them the pat on the back that you are doing a very good job, you are getting recognized, you just relax and work the way you are. So those kind of small gestures will definitely help you to retain people at the right time. Otherwise, resignation happens, which I always say. So this is a part of life, but yes, retaining them is definitely a challenge, because hiring a new person has become also a challenge. So over to you, Peter.
Beautifully answered, and the responses are to the point. So definitely, I have another question out here, but that's more of an opinion that person is looking at. That's from Jasurya. Resignation is the time for organization to reflect on the work culture. What's your opinion?
It is definitely a yes. I am completely aligned with this thought process. Resignation is definitely a point where you actually go back and see what went wrong. You can't just shut your eyes and say we are doing everything correct and people are leaving just because they are getting something better in market. No, it is never the case. Definitely, it gives you the heads up that what kind of culture you are driving and what has changed in the team which lead to a resignation. It is definitely something which become a food of thought for everybody in the organization. So I'll give you just a very small example. What we do in our organization, there is a practice which I do in my organization, is that we do a lot of connect practices. We do a lot of connect calls, connect meetings, open houses with the new joiners, because mostly in the sales and the organization where the revenue driven culture is there, not unlikely softwares, there people have to feel constant motivation and constant involvement by the organization. So the more connect you, so what we do is that we give them 7th day joining call, we give them 15th day joining call, then 30th day and 60th day and 90th day, and then we speak to them on their 6 months when they complete their confirmation, then 1 year after the appraisal. So they get a lot of window to talk about how they are feeling now, what has changed in the team, how the manager is behaving, how the environment is behaving, what is the problem in that particular state and area. So, and a lot of open houses with the senior management too. So that gives them a lot of window to talk about their reservations beforehand, instead of only saying that, okay, I'm resigning. Moreover, work culture is something where it is a two-way feedbacking process. I cannot just say that my company gives a 4-day working, so it is a better work culture. But maybe, Peter's company is 6 days working, so it's a bad company. No, it is not that. Maybe people are more involved and more happy to work for 6 days than my company where people are working for 4 days. So this is work culture cannot be, you can't just force a work culture on somebody. Culture is all about communication. It is all about interacting and taking and giving feedback. And it cannot be static. You have to keep on changing it every month, every quarter, every year. That is why the companies always change their goals. They cannot just have one goal which they will drive for next 10 years. Even, a country like India, we also take small goals like, Mr. Modi, he takes very small goals, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So when somebody is running a country, he's taking just a 5-year goal. So I think we are just running an organization. We should take maybe a quarter or a yearly goal, which we talk about more of a culture. So definitely completely aligned with your thought that it is a reflex. Resignation is definitely a reflex. However, it is more of a communication and feedback, and it cannot be enforced on somebody. It has to be taken. So it's more like it's more of an acquired taste of wine that you can't just have it because everybody's having it. So you have to have a taste for it. So that's how I think I take work culture. Over to you, Peter.
Beautifully answered. Great session, a power pack and an apt session in current times. Thank you, Ms. Parul. Thank you for the categorization of resource and identifying the hippo talent and how to bucket them into passive, cooperative, contributor, and entrepreneurial buckets. Beautiful learnings and takeaway. Appreciate the entire learnings that have been shared. I would like to bring a beautiful quote by Dale Carnegie. People work for money, but go the extra mile for recognition, praise, and rewards. It has been a pleasure being with you today. I'm sure our participants have had a lot to learn and take away from this session. Before we conclude with our today's session, we would also want to thank the association members, that is Geisha, NASCOM COE, LinkedIn Local, Tagro, TLE, and WICCI for supporting these HRAI events. To know more about these associations, request you to kindly visit the link provided in the chat window. Thank you once again, dear speaker and our participants, for joining us today. Do join us tomorrow for our next masterclass on the topic New Age Leadership Perspective, a session by Dr. Soumya Bhatkan, VP Corporate Strategy, HR and IR on the 28th of Jan 2022. Request you to kindly register for this event at the link mentioned in the chat window, and also to join the Dialogue 2022 WhatsApp chat group through the invite link shared in the chat window. That's it from us today. See you soon. Stay safe, take care, and bye for now.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. So thank you, Shyam. I believe we can hereby conclude with our today's session.
Thank you.